Hello and welcome back. For the set 2 routine, I wanted to use some of the elements that we learned in set 2 to modify the routine from set 1. To refresh your memory, the set 1 routine was 2 walking downward figure 8s, 2 backwards upwards figure 8s, an obiani strike, 2 more strikes, and a thrust, and then a single-handed plum flower into a finish. Alright, this time around, let's complicate things. Those 2 first downward figure 8s, we're going to replace those by doubling them with a hand switch. What that means is, as I take that step with my right foot, instead of just doing this and then taking the step with my left foot, I'm going to do a hand switch. Then when I take the step with my left foot, instead of just doing this, I'm going to do another hand switch. Alright, so that's the first part of it. Pretty basic so far. 2 steps. You will have to slow the steps down because your feet will not be able to move as fast as the saber, So just to show you, right foot, hand switch, left foot, hand switch. Alright, adding to that, last time around, after those 2 downward figure 8s, we turned around and did 2 upward figure 8s going backwards, or 2 upward figure 8 strikes, or 2 upward figure 8 swings, rather, going backwards. Okay, this time around, we're going to add in a reverse grip element in there. So after I've finished up with those 2 downward hand switches, I'm going to take that same step, toes pointing that direction, to a backward facing position. So same step, but when I do, I'm going to reverse my grip. And then as I'm back with this foot, I'm going to reverse it again. Back into position. So what that looks like, that's a confusing part, but after I've got my 2 downward hand switches, okay, my right foot moves at an angle, like that. Alright, so let me show that to you back a little bit where you can see it. Right foot, hand switch, left foot, hand switch, right foot, into ready position. Alright, that part's a little bit tricky. It's going to take some getting used to, but again, so you can see it close to the camera. Alright, and that gets me to the point where in the original, I threw a obiani strike. We're going to replace that with a split clock face. So just bear with me a little bit, and I'll walk you through that part after I show it to you. The set so far: right foot, hand switch, left foot, hand switch, right foot, reverse, reverse again, clock face. Alright, now I started from on that clock face. As my hand ends up over here, hand switch, beat, hand switch, back down. Okay. From here, I'm going to be doing a lunge. I'm doing it that direction. So my blade, which is pointing that direction, is going to turn, and I'm going to step with it into a lunge. Blade pointing that direction, turn, step. Right. So the set to that point: right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, all right, from that lunge, I'm going to throw you another curveball in this one, something that's not in set 2, okay, but it will be in set 3. I'm going to have you cross step. So from this lunge, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be bringing my left foot over in front of my right foot. I'll show you this at a distance, but my left foot, toes are pointing that way. I'm going to move it in front of my right foot. Toes are pointing that way. My weight is still on my right foot. I'm basically standing on one foot at this point. And while I do that, I'm going to parry. Right. This is also tricky. It'll take a little bit of time to get used to. I'll show you to that point. Right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot. My legs here are crossed. My weight is on my right foot. My left foot is poised here in front of me. I'm going to be shifting weight to it in a second. Where we go from that rather awkward position, that cross step here, is we're going to go into another block on this side of the body with a step. So I go from here, take a step, and block. So from that lunge, cross step, other block, block to that side. From the lunge, cross step block, other block. Okay. Both on the outside middle. All right, so for the whole routine to that point, right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, split clock face, thrust, cross step, guard. From this guard position, all I'm going to do right here is a thrust. Okay, so I'm just going to straighten my arm. Right? The next part is where it gets a little bit more complicated, because now I'm going to throw in a pivot step for you. So as we're thrusting here, lead leg forward, okay, I'm going to pivot. I'm going to pivot on my front foot where my weight is. I'm going to let my left foot in the back swing around behind me. Okay? Basically, without the saber here, I'm doing this. Okay? Shift my weight in that thrust to my right foot. Use my right foot to pivot my left foot in front of me. Okay, what the saber's going to do while I do that is from this lunge, I'm going to lift my saber up and over my head. Okay, so from that lunge, or that thrust rather, I lift the saber up over my head, and then I'm going to thrust again. All right, let me show you the routine to that point, and then we'll add in the final move. Right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, split clock face, thrust, cross step block, thrust, thrust. Okay. That last one's going to take some work. It's a little bit tricky, but after that, it's all easy from there. So from that final thrust, all we're going to do is bring the saber back over to our dominant side, and we're going to do a split plum flower. Right? If you want, you can add another beat after this handoff at the top to get you down. If you like that flourish at the end, that's fine. Otherwise, you just move it over and move it back down. So that part, if you had figured out the split plum flower, that part's going to be easy. We'll just add that to the end. So once again, the full routine, I'll do it twice. And I'll do it one more time as slowly as I can manage without that extra, or with an extra spin at the end. All right, and that is the set 2 routine. If you can manage your way through that, join me back here next time, and we're going to start figuring out how to take what we have and twist it rather than adding to it. Change it and modify it into other moves. That'll be set 3, and I'll see you then.